Hey guys, what's up? It's Salty Rat Chan, and gonna be talking about a little bit of the process behind the cat lady piece that I posted up on Patreon, and I will be posting elsewhere shortly. This is a really experimental piece for me. As you can see, even just in choosing the skin color, it was a lot of, I don't know, how do I feel about this? And I lined it in a red ink, so I sort of, that set the tone for the rest of the piece, is that I was gonna have it all kind of fit in with the red tone, so it became a very peachy, very kind of muted piece, very, right off the bat, line art can determine a lot about how a piece is gonna go, very quickly. Um, After I picked the peachy tone, I realized that I wanted her to be um, natural, a very natural look. So she gets a blue shirt, which is where I started using the fill bucket a little bit more intuitively. You see me kind of fuck it up a little bit shortly when I go, oh yeah, I think blue would look fantastic, and so and then you get the white pixel thing. The fucking white pixel problem is something I have been suffering with the entirety of my career as a furry freelancer. So you see me fudge with this a little bit more than I probably could have. And then I quickly realized, oh fuck, area scaling is a thing. And oh wow, look at that, problem solved. I had I'll insert an image of that shortly. My settings for the fill bucket, it's pretty easy. You just have it set to a few more pixels than you normally, than it's set to default, sorry. Then you. And then it's just a matter of picking colors that suit the tone. My favorite way of doing that is on the RGB scales, to just kind of keep one of the colors around the same, and then when you're picking other colors off of that, just not fucking with that saturation level too much, and it'll keep it all really nicely in tune. So even when you're picking a brown or a blue, it's not too different and it's not too obscenely bright in contrast. And then you have my blur tool. This is my favorite thing that I have learned to use. I fucking hated the blur because I thought it was just at first like, oh, you take your finger and you smudge it. And it looked gross and it looked fake and it looked too photorealistic. And then I discovered the fiber. The fiber setting is my favorite fucking setting right now. And I went from painstaking, and here's a setting for that, the running color on fiber. That's the tool that I'm using. And I had started blending really just depending on the eyedrop pixel variation, and then just making a ton of really tiny lines, or trying to find a brush that did it, trying to find like the perfect blendy brush, and I just couldn't find the one that I needed. And then one day, clicking around tools, and I find the fucking blur tool, and then I go, whoa, hold on a moment, is that a texture? Oh goddamn, it is. Excuse my French. And since then my life has changed, quite literally. I realized very quickly that she was a lot of one color, and I wanted her to fit her pants a little bit. I'm not really sure why. So I added a bunch of this brown. I kind of like it. I kind of like it a lot. I didn't want to give her glove color, so I just wanted to give her patches. Doesn't really make her species any more clear. She's a cat, but she's got stripes and mittens. So, take from it what you will. That's kind of the joy of arting. Then it's accenting. Wanted to give her a little bit of detailing on that shirt. You'll notice I still haven't changed the line art color to actually suit it. I usually fuck with that last, once I've really gotten everything suited. In some cases, I'll just click off the line art and try to just do a painting from there after working for hours on it. It's the suffering of an artist right there. spending 20 minutes, an hour on something and then going, this isn't working, and just restarting or just going on a different path. And the important thing is to let yourself do that, because if you stick with something you don't like for longer than you should, you're going to very, very quickly really hate what you're working on. And sort of my quest has been, how do I make things more pleasurable to work on, things that I'm not comfortable with? And in this case, it's the shading. I have discovered the beauty of the lasso tool, finally, after years and years of being like, I don't know what this is for and I have no use for it, which is essentially has been the past few months. Excuse my burping. The entirety of me working with CSP. And the idea behind the lasso tool is that you are blocking out things. It isn't necessarily intended to be the permanent final shaded look of a piece. It's your starting point. It's when you're bad like me at just picking another color and then going over a single section. You're setting a clip layer over all of your colors, and then you're just working with whatever color you want. It could be pink, yellow, orange, green, purple. And then you're just trying to get an idea. If you have a light source, work off of that. You want to get all your darks in there. Follow clothing lines. The lasso tool is awesome for that, because you can make really tiny ones, you can make really big blocks, and then you just fill bucket the whole lot of it. You see me after I do that, set the layer to multiply, and then kind of fuck with how deep I want those shadows to go. At another point, I actually duplicate the multiply layer, and then erase some of that, so some of those shadows are going to be deeper than the others, without actually having to go through and redo the shading. It's still pretty mild on this one. I was going for a lighter theme, so the shadows just aren't going to be as dark. Highlights are a lot of the same thing. You're going to have the lasso tool, and then you're going to have blocks. You're just going to try and feel from your heart where the light shines forth from. Or you can add a sun and actually be really intelligent about the whole process. I'm still toying around with how I want to do highlights. I really like to set an overlay layer, add, in parentheses, glow is another one of my favorite layer settings for highlights, but that's like a really bright highlight. And generally, in this piece, I leave it all like that. It's a very rough, shaded, sketchy form of shading and lighting, and if you're doing a finished, like perfect painted work, this is your base layer. I didn't really go much further on this one, just I didn't feel like I needed to for what it was. So you're going to see a lot of jagged lines, as the lasso tool is going to give you a pixelated edge, which doesn't really appeal to me, but has its time and its place. And so I blur the edges a lot, but I'll leave some of those edges crisp. And I'll blur out a patch, and then I'll go back and add in another batch of it. Just for that extra dimensional quality, what have you. You see me darken the layer. At this point, I like to try and add some color to the line art so that it's not as stark against the art, because you do want the color and the character to shine forth more than the line art or any other individual piece separately. Trying to create a piece that just stands together as a whole. So that's essentially my shading and highlighting practice. I hope this was easy to understand, and I hope if you learned anything, like, let me know, show me what you did with it. It helped me out a lot to get over my fear of shading, so maybe it can help you too. And I hope you liked the tutorial. I hope you liked watching me draw the cat lady. And a very important note, by the way, is that white lines are your friends at the very end. I love adding white lines. It's just a fun, cartoony way. Obviously, you'll never see them in a picture, but there you are. Some nice little white lines. So, have a good day. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Bye!